What if you could see all the future repair and replacement expenses for your association? Would that help you budget for them instead of being surprised when they occur? If you want to clearly see the future for your association, keep watching. I'll explain how getting the right kind of skilled assistance will help board members and managers see the future clearly. Even though Mother Nature and Father Time don't take a break, you don't have to live with the unsettled feeling that some big projects are looming just a few years away that will cause a special assessment when they occur. That's no way to live. You can see the future and prepare. By seeing the future clearly, you can enjoy the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. An important starting question is, can we see the future with enough clarity to care to do something about it? It's a matter of vision or understanding, or is it shirking the responsibility, feeling it's someone else's problem? Well, this is important to start with because it's usually the first excuse to not funding reserves. We don't know what's going to happen, so why should we plan? So in this section of the program, I'll share that I believe we can see the future. And it starts with the idea that you know yourself and your situation. You believe in yourself and your situation. Now, for me, I know that I need to leave my house 3 hours and 15 minutes before my flight to LAX is scheduled to leave. So if I'm in my driveway, if at only 2.5 hours before my flight, I know it's going to be a stressful drive and I could be late. I can see that future while I'm still in my driveway. So follow along as I guide you through today's material, helping you clearly see the future and how your choices today and at budget time shape the future of your association. Now, I think it starts with perspective. It's pretty easy to see the things that are right in front of us, and that's our reality. You can reach out and touch the tree in your backyard. You can touch the trunk and you can enjoy seeing the leaves flutter in the wind, but that same backyard tree looks different compared to a forest at the edge of town. That same big tree starts to look small and insignificant compared to an entire forest of trees. Now that's perspective. And while your backyard tree seems very real, you know in your head now that there's a whole lot more trees out there beyond touching distance. You know that they're real. And if you back away even further, you realize that the forest ends at the base of a mountain range. Now, you may not see the rocks or feel the snow or maybe the cool mountain breeze, but that range is huge, and it's as real as that single tree in your backyard. The point is that those distant things are there. They're real, and they don't go away if you focus only on the things up close. They're still there. So if you're focusing only on your tree in your backyard, that doesn't mean that the mountains and the forest have gone away. They're still there. Now, let's talk about perspective and point of view with respect to community association properties. You can see a condo on the left-hand side, and let's start now with someone with an untrained eye. All right? For a person with an untrained eye, it's pretty easy to see the near-term conditions. You can see that the trim looks good or bad. You can see that the carpet is new or worn. Maybe you can even smell a new carpet. And you can see pretty obviously that the asphalt is either smooth or deteriorated with a lot of cracks and potholes. Those things are patently obvious even to the person with an untrained eye. They're looking only at, and they have a good understanding of the near-term things, the things right now. And that same untrained person may not see so clearly or know so clearly if the fence is in good shape or poor shape, or if the entry system is new or aged. That untrained person is not skilled in seeing those events a few years away, that kind of mid-range area. You could say their mid-range opinions get a little bit gray or a little bit fuzzy. That's just not their strength. And the untrained eye is likely not even going to have an opinion about things further in the future. Some long-range projects like elevator modernization, other major mechanical issues, maybe some roof system, things like that. That's just not in their skill set. So their reaction is pretty reasonably, how should I know? It's not my problem. I'm not going to deal with that. And I wonder if that's a reason that we don't have boards and managers funding reserves because they're thinking, how can I know? How should I know? But I want to turn the corner a little bit on this discussion and expose you to someone with a experienced eye, kind of a trained eye. For this person, they've got the near-term stuff in the bank. They understand that. And the mid-range stuff, they know what to expect. They've seen it enough that they have a grasp on these things. They know what a good fence looks like. They know what a good entry system looks like. Or the one that you have, maybe they know that's a 10-year-old model and it's pretty old. So they have the point of view and they have the experience base with those mid-range components that they know what to expect. And being in that position, they also know that there's some other things out there a little bit beyond grasp, but they know enough to know someone who can tell them what condition those things are in. So they know enough to know, let me get some help. I know where I can go to get some information about that. And then you go from the experienced eye to the expert eye. And for that person, someone like a reserves day professional, someone who looks at building elements on almost a daily basis, even the long range items are clear to them. They understand it, they see it, they get it, and they think, hey, that's no problem. I got this. I understand this. And so there's a difference in perspective between the untrained eye who only grasps effectively and realistically the near-term things, and this expert eye who's able to see even long-range things. So same fact set, just different perspective, just different amount of training and experience. So if we put these things together, the role of the untrained eye is often played by the board or the homeowner. They get it, they see it, they understand these things, and they can make observations about the here and now. But moving further into the future is not their strength. Those mid-range observations are commonly influenced by the manager, the person that they see regularly. That manager sees properties on a regular basis. Maybe they're a portfolio manager, so they see other things, or they hear stories from other managers in the office. And then the role of the long-range person with long-range vision, the expert eye, is played by the reserves day professional. It's our job to make observations and help clients begin preparing now for things far away. So that's the idea, that all those assets are there. And just because you may not know what the condition is and what the reality is, someone else can. And that's the value of having someone on your team who can help you see that. And maybe that's why I find it so frustrating that board members are missing what I consider obvious. All right. Well, let's change things up here in this first section again, the board responsibilities. What is the board's job? And it's pretty much three things. Enforce the rules, make sure there's law and order and things happening in an orderly manner, maintain the property, keep the physical plant going, and handle the finances. That means setting the budget, collecting the income, and paying money to the service providers who keep the place going. And that's pretty much what their job is in a nutshell. And the interesting thing is that a reserve study helps with two of these three basic functions of a board member. We help a board member see distant into the future because we can reveal that truth is very clear to us. And we can help them see that you've got 16 years for that, 7 years for another thing, 22 years for yet a third thing, and you need to be setting aside this much money to prepare for them. It's very simple. And so it's up to the board to, again, enforce the rules, what's said in the governing documents, the bylaws, how many board members are there, how they get elected, how to handle special assessments, the voting percentage, all those kinds of things. Maintaining the property is getting things done, seeing with clarity when projects need to be done. But in order to do that, oftentimes you need to have prepared years in advance. And Reserve Study helps preparing years in advance for those big things. Why is this the way it is? Well, It boils down to three things: governing documents, the documents supporting the association. That could be governing documents, that could be the rules, again, the bylaws, things like that, articles of incorporation. There's the principles of being a fiduciary, where you as a board member are responsible to care for the assets of others. And there could be state law, sometimes very specific, sometimes in general terms, what a board member is or does. And so you have, as a responsibility of a board member, those responsibilities to maintain the association, enforce the rules, and handle the finances. So it's your job to do that kind of thing. And there's another layer, and that other layer is insurance. Can you get insurance coverage? How much control or how much influence does the insurance company have about making sure you correct unsafe conditions, making sure that you follow the governing documents? Otherwise, you're out on the limb and they're not going to insure that kind of behavior. So there's that extra layer on top. And in this all, I want to make sure you understand that Mother Nature and Father Time that are causing all this deterioration, the natural deterioration that exists here on planet Earth, Mother Nature and Father Time don't take a break. It's like you're in a race and they're always running around the racetrack. They never stop and go into pit lane, having to refresh themselves, having to get more fuel. And so the question is, are you in pit lane while Mother Nature and Father Time are whizzing around the track, continuing to deteriorate things? Or are you going at a slower speed in pit lane and then you get out on the racetrack and you're not getting up to speed? With every lap, you're falling behind and behind and behind. So understand where you're fitting in this and understand that there really is a race going on, and Mother Nature and Father Time aren't stopping or slowing down. It's pretty hard hustle that you have to be going on to keep up with all that deterioration. And it is a closed loop, as if you're not funding reserves, you're going to have deterioration. That's just the consequence, the reality. You can see this real estate agent here having a hard time explaining in polite or nice terms, attractive terms, what this couple is looking at here. It's affordable, it's rustic, and they aren't wasting your potential HOA dues on funding reserves, because there is a result. You either pay more money and get a nicer looking place, or you pay less money and a lousier looking place. And that's going to affect home values. So that's a little bit of what the situation is. And I want to make sure you're aware that that is what's in your ability to see the future. These things are going to happen. At Association Reserves, we make the present less stressful and the future more secure. If you want to join us in this mission, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment down below on what you'd like to see us address in a future video. Let's plan for your best future.